Well, next is Jeremy Miller from Sustainability House. Jeremy is actually from a background of urban planning, but within Sustainability House he works a lot with building permit and the planning process. His main professional focus is working with builders and developers in improving their energy efficiency, understanding legislative and statutory requirements, and also developing understanding of the factors that contribute to thermal performance of buildings. And we'll be talking about one of their projects, Sustainability House's projects in Sept?
Birkenhead.
Birkenhead.
Right,
I'll pass it over to you, Jeremy.
Lovely, thank you. It's good. Fantastic. So we've got this little house down in Birkenhead that we'd love you to come down and pay us a visit. So Suho Studio is the design arm of the company Sustainability House that I work for, and we're really concerned with the comfort in the houses that we build. To achieve the comfort, we do a lot of thermal modelling and predicting what that comfort's going to be. We monitor it and we test it. So what's one of the key things when you want to work out when and where to build? Well, it's the orientation of the block that you want to put this house on. So when designers were looking for it, they spent a long time looking in the local area. They lived in Sept already and they wanted to find the right block. And there were some key considerations to that. And if you come down on the weekend, on Sunday, we'll talk you through that. So what we did is that we designed this house that really fitted well on the block. It had the right setbacks, and we went through, obviously, your town planning applications, taking it right through to building rules consent. We obviously did the thermal performance ratings on the house. Originally, it came out at 7.5 stars, which is a pretty high rating. In the current software, though, it rates at 8.1 stars. When modelling the house, we do sun and shading analysis on it. So we want to see how the house is performing at the summer and winter solstice and at many other times during the year. Summer, we're trying to keep that glass clear of sunlight, but in the winter time, we want that sun penetrating deep into the building envelope. But where do you start? You have to get your slab down. So the slab gets laid. The house is built out of what are called Septs, structurally insulated panels. So you know, you send off your designs and the SIP manufacture them. It's a prefabricated material, and then they get delivered on a truck. The problem is, I guess, what you've really got to make sure is that you get your sequencing right, though, because unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately, the house had its slab down for quite some time. It took a while to get the slab down, and the SIPs were already delivered, and they got distributed around various homes in Sept, waiting for the slab to be finished off. But you know, some of the good things about the SIPs is that they're relatively lightweight and they're prefabricated. In fact, when you want to put the house together, the walls went up. I mean, it took 4 people 3 days to get the walls up. Everything's pre-manufactured off-site, so you bring it onto site and it goes together really easily. You don't need any joinery skills. You don't really need to be a carpenter to put these together. If you've got some skills involved, and this was one of the main places where you needed some skills, you had to get what's called the sole plate down correctly. If you stuff up the sole plate, your walls are going to be wonky, because that's the bottom rebate. And so you can see these 2 guys there in the photograph concentrating. We're going to bolt this thing to the slab properly so our walls are in the right place, because if you get it wrong, you get it wrong. But it worked. They got the sole plate down. The wall system is so light, it can easily be manually handled into place. You don't need any machinery on site. It's a nice lightweight walling system. There's a certain way you have to carry it. Obviously, there's some manual handling concerns with it, but really, you know, these guys on site picking it up, moving it into place. So once the walls are up, you get a building wrap on. You want to wrap the building nicely. That helps with the air seal. It helps with the thermal performance and the breathability. And then the roof went on. So the roof is a posi truss system, again manufactured off-site. You get this beautiful skillion span with it, and a lot of room to pack it deep with insulation. So when you get the insulation in, you get the insulation of the roof and the insulation of the walls. I mean, one of the main things is that you make sure the insulation's packed tight into the corners as well. in that bottom photograph, that white stuff's PCM, phase change material. It's like an intelligent thermal mass, and we're sort of experimenting with it in this house and seeing how it performs. The house has a reasonable balance of thermal mass to insulation. That's really one of the key things you need. One of the most beautiful things about this house is this gorgeous, gorgeous piece of thermal mass in it, which is a recycled red brick wall. I think it's actually one of my favourite elements in the house. You can see Mark, who's one of the owners, stroking it lovingly. He's here tonight if you want to catch up with him later on. So the house goes from this building site to pretty much a completed product. It looks a little different than that now. This is just under 2 years ago, I think now. It's got a bamboo deck out, again, selected for sustainability, fast-growing bamboo. 7,000 litres of water tanks down the side of the house that only just fit very, very tightly. So the kitchen, pre-manufactured, again, partly manufactured off-site, but the bench top made out of a substance called paper rock. It's a recycled paper rock dust aggregate. It is really heavy, but it's very, very durable. So we monitor the house. We've been monitoring the house for a couple of years now, seeing how it's performing. The house has no mechanical heating and cooling, so all its heating and cooling is done through the passive design of the house. The house performs really well. It stays in a very comfortable temperature all year round. In fact, in the winter time, it's a beautiful temperature inside. On Sunday, you'll have to check it out. We do comparison between how we predicted the house would perform and how it's actually performing as well. It's really important to start to understand that comfort across the year, and because you want to make sure that the house stays within a comfortable temperature and it has the maximum number of hours of that comfortable temperature all year round. So how do you achieve that? What's one of the ways you achieve that? You test the house. You see how it's performing. We do blower door testing and thermal camera analysis on housing. This house achieved 3.58 air changes per hour at 50 Pascals. A lot lower than the Australian average, which is around 18. It's like having a window open in your house all the time. So insofar as comfort, on this device here that we've got in the house, you can see it's 6:30 in the afternoon. On a cold winter's day, it's 6 degrees outside, it's 20 degrees inside the house. That's 20 degrees without any heating. That's just the heat radiating out of the slab. So winter solstice, this was taken last year. This winter solstice was a bit overcast. We couldn't get a lovely photograph like this, but you can see that beautiful winter sun coming deep into the living space of the house, heating up that slab. That slab's absorbing that solar energy. It's absorbing the sun and it radiates it out at the end of the day to keep that house nice and warm. So we're hoping that Sunday won't be like this. It won't be overcast and wet, and that we'll actually have some sun out. The weather forecast has been a bit choppy and changing this week. But we're hoping that the sun will be out and you'll be able to actually see it. If you have to stand back from the house and check it out from this angle and it is wet, well, it's nice and warm and dry inside. So this Sustainability House Day, we're launching our Suho Studio website as well, suhostudio.com.au. There's blogs and there's going to be a blog on that with a lot of information. The site's aimed to kind of cut through the greenwash and go from there. Thank you, Ken. All done.